Hello? Hi, yeah, we need to talk. I'm sorry, it's just not working out. I think we should break up. It's not me, it's not even you, it's your boring brand.
Welcome to the Boring Brand Breakup, the podcast for brands with big dreams stuck in the loop of same old boring marketing tactics. It's time to break up with your crusty dusty marketing and build a brand your customers can't help but fall in love with. I'm Janisha, your host and the chronically online 2000s rom-com obsessed founder and resident wordsmith at Good Hearted Studio, the go-to copywriting studio for do-gooder brands with a mission to make the world a better place. We're popping the cherry on this potty with a mini-series on building the foundations for a swoon-worthy brand. Why am I doing this? Because after working in marketing for years, I was so sad seeing my favorite brands disappear when I could see front and center the red flag mistakes they're making that are hurting their chances of success. In my opinion, there's no reason why a low budget should equal a boring brand. So I'm arming you with this juicy podcast series combining my best advice and recommendations, plus the brains of some of my fave brand marketing powerhouses. Even better, I'm pairing this up with a handy downloadable guide so you can take your knowledge, fresh creative ideas, and put it all into action. Okay, cell phones on silent, the show's about to begin. Let's get into it. Building relationships between your brand and your audience is just like dating. You've got to show up and give a little something to keep the spark alive and the romance going, you know? Taking a back seat when it comes to marketing means you're losing opportunities to connect with your loyal customers and to foster relationships with your potential customers. A tragedy worse than Romeo and Juliet, if you ask me. Your marketing ecosystem is like a pie. There are foundational elements, the core ingredients, so to speak, that we're probably not going to substitute and need to provide a strong base for all your other brand efforts. The recipe differs, of course, depending on your business and what works best for you, but in my opinion, the flour and butter that make the delicious golden base of your marketing pie are your email marketing and social media efforts. You might be running or want to be running influencer or PR campaigns, radio ads, Google search, and so much more, but email and socials are your voice directly to your audience. It's powerful to be able to directly connect with your customer in an unimaginable way. And before you start telling me how much you load social media, I won't be asking you to do a dance trend or lip sync to a song, but it's really important to recognize the absolute power we have at our fingertips that businesses trying to market themselves 30 years ago could only dream of. Imagine you're starting a brand and your only way to connect with your audience is to put ads in the local paper or tell a friend to tell a friend. Obviously, word of mouth is powerful and one of the most trusted and converting forms of marketing. Socials can be that megaphone for you, connecting you with your dream customers. And email and social together can be your secret weapon for having your customers fall in love with your brand. Now, before I was a copywriter, my background has been in all things digital marketing, content, and organic social media for over 7 years. So I know a trick or two about building brands and fostering community online using organic social media and content that's creative and converting. This is great, but it's not enough to just look at one tactic as our everything. Social media is just one piece of the pie, and there are a lot of moving parts and touch points that go into your customer journey. So let's use them. If I'm honest, the nitty-gritty of email marketing, awareness campaigns, and paid social media are a bit of smoke and mirrors show to me. I know they're important elements, and I highly suggest them to startups and brands I work with, but I want to give you tools to feel confident setting these strategies up if you're DIYing, or even if you outsource these parts of your marketing to not feel out of your depth. That's why in this episode, I've got Bree from Fletcher & Co. in the hot seat to break down uber important things like your customer journey and how this plays into your email marketing and social media efforts. Bree is what you'd call a marketing fairy. She's a pocket rocket and sprinkles her magic on all things marketing for purpose-driven brands. She helps businesses who are pulling their hair out to scale their revenue and take their impact to the next level. Bree's got a juicy academic background in sociology and a big heart starting her career in the nonprofit sector. As you can imagine, in nonprofit organizations, the budget is lean or basically non-existent. So Bree is no stranger to thinking and moving differently when it comes to a brand's marketing efforts and making sure your marketing dollars work hard for you. She's driven by her mission to support for good businesses making the world a better place, working with hundreds of brands since founding her business Fletcher & Co. Communications in 2018 and generating over $25 million in client revenue just last year alone. Bree is no one-trick pony. Fletcher & Co. is a full-stack digital agency covering everything from strategy, website builds, copy and design, through to social media management, paid ads, SEO, and email marketing. Her sought-after agency services are fully booked, so now she supports founders like you in her 6-month mastermind, the Impact Accelerator. Think party for do-gooders, not boring tactics. A girl after my own heart with a shared mission to myself in my brand copywriting studio, working with businesses with a dream to do good for people and the planet. Bree has so much experience working with social purpose-led brands to help their businesses not just survive, but thrive. So let's get into it and pick her brain so you can have your marketing efforts working hard and doing flips for you. Welcome, Bree. So excited to have you on today to chat about all things email marketing and customer journeys and paid social campaigns, all things that are very scary to me, but I know that you're going to hold my hand through it, so it's going to be fine. But basically, to get into it, I'd love if you could tell me a little bit about just customer journey and like what it is and why it's important.
Yeah, amazing. So customer journey mapping or your customer journey is the same thing if you've ever heard someone talk about a marketing funnel. It's the exact same thing, and it's just thinking about putting your customer first. So everything that you do in your marketing and your business, your customer needs to come first, especially in the digital world. And so your customer journey mapping, or what that looks like, is just mapping out for them. Like, say, for example, I want to go on a holiday, right? So first thing I'm going to do is talk to my friends, where should I go? What's your experience? Then once I've decided where I want to go, I might do some research. And then I might think about all the things that I want to do while I'm there. And then I might think about booking something. And then I might book flights and .com, and then I'll go. When we look at it from a business perspective, it's okay, how can I make that as easy as possible? Like, how can I, if I am the hotel provider, what can I do at every point from that first initial thought that, hey, I want to go somewhere, all the way through to booking, and then my experience on the other side as the hotel, what can I do to make that as smooth and simple and fun and delicious as possible? That's journey mapping. And so that's your customer journey.
And so I feel like this is something that brands miss a lot because they're either thinking that people already know everything about them and they're going to be like, yep, amazing, that's what I want, like from the minute they see their socials or something or see one post, or like from when they send one email out or when they land on their website. But it's like there's so much to the process of like thinking about what stage people are at and how you can tailor things to everything. So I feel like there's just so many elements to it and like how you can set it up, and that's the part that I feel like can be really confusing for a brand. So I'm like, where should a brand start with understanding their customer journey? Like, how can they really lay it out and make it super easy? And I'm like, I love that example of like thinking about it from a holiday perspective, to really break it down. So yeah. Did that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah, okay, amazing.
Yeah. So when you think about your customer journey, or your marketing funnel, there are the way that I see it is there's 4 stages. There's 4 phases that someone needs to go through. And so that first is the top of funnel awareness piece. It's the first time that you're throwing yourself out in the world and they're seeing you for the first ever time. That's your introduction. That's the first kind of contact point. And then from there, a group of people, and that will go to everyone, right? Like everyone's part of that top of funnel. But not everyone is going to move further into your world, and you don't want them because your business can't handle everyone in the world. So you say, okay, great. And all the people who are interested, maybe they'll follow you or they'll visit your website or they'll like your post or something will happen and they'll kind of become part of your world. And then they move into the second stage of your journey. And that's your nurture stage. That's your consideration stage. That's where you're building up that know, like, trust factor. And so that's a lot of that nurturing content, that engaging content, that building up, showing your personality and your brand, but also showing who you are, what you do and what you offer, and why you are the best solution. That's your second stage. Then your third stage is your bottom of funnel, your conversions piece. And often businesses will stop here. And so that is, what are you doing to get people across the line? How are you making it as easy as possible for someone to purchase from you? That's your bottom of funnel. But there's a fourth piece, and arguably the most important, I would say, which is your loyalty piece, right? So we live in a world now where we have 1,000,001 businesses offering the exact same thing. Like, I own a marketing agency, 300 other people in my city also own a marketing agency. And we all do pretty much the same thing, right? So it's like, what can you do? And so previously, the kind of concept was once someone buys from you once, they will always come back to you. They have inherent customer loyalty and they have inherent buyer loyalty. But now, because there's so many options available 24/7, we need to be really cultivating brand loyalty. And so that fourth stage actually feeds us back into the top again, because while they're becoming, we're building up their brand loyalty. We're also bringing them back to the top and saying, this is why you'll love us, and starting the whole process again.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm like, you can really compare it to in a relationship. it's like you can't take your partner for granted and think that, you know, I've got them, I've wooed them, I've done all the stuff at the start now, you know, we're together. It doesn't stop there. Like, you've got to keep, you know, dating them and doing things for them and like really caring. And I feel like this is where brands fall short sometimes, because they'll be like, cool, I did all that stuff at the start, like, you're going to love me forever. But it's like, you've got to keep that relationship going. And I'm like, loyalty is so important, because I find this all the time with even brands that I love. They focus so much on playing favorites with new customers, and they're always prioritizing new people coming in. They forget about all the people that, you know, they have that already love their brand, and they don't really do anything to reward them or like focus on that community. And then it turns into like, you know, it'll be like you get a discount when you're a new customer, but when you're already a customer, you get nothing. And then you're kind of like, oh, well, should I just like get another email and pretend to be a new customer and come in? So I feel like there's a lot to that process where you can really build it out so that, you know, you're still attracting new, but you're focusing on the people who, you know and love you and are showing up for you already.
Yeah, definitely. And like from a business perspective, it's cheaper to convert people who are already part of your world. So why would you not increase your average lifetime value of your customers, regardless of whether you're a product or service? Exactly. There's lots of things you can do to help people repeat purchase from you. Yeah. And that's the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest way to make more money in your business.
Absolutely. Because I'm like, if someone's already had a good experience, then they're more likely to, you know and love you because they have gone through those stages already. So I love that so much. Lots of good insights in there. And then I feel like this ties into email and social, because I really wanted to focus on these aspects because there are so many elements to your marketing pie that, you know, you can do different like TV, radio ads, you can do influencer campaigns, all that stuff. But email and social is like such a good base because it's organic, it's affordable, you own it, it's your direct channel to your audience. Like the people that are there want to be there. So I just feel like it's definitely somewhere to set foundations. And a lot of brands love to complain about social media, but I'm like, it's actually like what are we complaining about? Like, imagine 30 years ago, if you want to run a business, you're putting ads in the local paper, like you're going door knocking, you're having to find people in real life, but you have it all at your fingertips with socials. And like, yes, it's a bit annoying sometimes, but it's like there's so much you can do with it. So yeah, I feel like I would love to know what your recommendations would be, like setting up email and social and like how to get them to kind of like tie together, and like what you think are the most important parts of them, like to get set up.
I love this. I have many, many thoughts. I will try to keep it as condensed as possible.
You're so fun.
I could literally yap about this for like hours and hours and hours. So let's start.
Like thinking if you're like basically like a startup, you're like bare bones, you've done nothing, you know nothing, what you would like.
What are we doing?
Yeah. Like they're like, oh, someone told me that I need to like get my socials going. I haven't really been posting anything on there, and like email marketing is a thing, what I don't really know. Where should we go from here?
Yeah, love that. Okay, so let's do social first, because that feeds into your email marketing. Mm-hmm. So social is a great way to reach new people. Like you said, that everyone's on social media, and we have this incredible opportunity, you know, as digital business owners or people in the digital space to be able to leverage that. So if we think, first of all, if we come back to like the 4 stages of our journey and we think about our awareness stage, content that's great for that is just like fun, easy, also a bit controversial, a little bit educational. Sometimes it's fun to have, you know, big outlandish claims, all sorts of things. Stuff that's just going to grab people's attention. We're not selling at this stage at all. We're just getting people's attention. We just want eyeballs. We don't even want to really keep the eyeballs. We just want to get them. That's all we're doing there. So anything you can do to get people's attention, that's your top of funnel content. That's all you need to worry about. Then from there, what you might like to consider is something called a lead magnet. And so this is where your socials will start to integrate with your email marketing. And this is really important because your social media can be taken away at any time. That's rented real estate. Your email list, those people, once they're there, unless they actively choose to unsubscribe, you have them. They can never be taken away from you. Your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever, can go at any second. We all know that. your email list is your ride or die besties. So we want to get people off social onto email as fast as possible. And something like a lead magnet is a great way to do that. And so if you don't know what a lead magnet is, it's essentially something that you're offering someone for free that's super valuable to them and super important to them that you can do to build their trust and to offer them in exchange for their email. And so that could be a variety of things depending on your business. All businesses need a lead magnet. And so your top of funnel socials content should also be pumping that. You want your socials to really be getting as many people as possible to download your lead magnet. And you may have multiple. I have about 10.
Amazing.
Most of my clients have at least 5. Yeah. So having multiple lead magnets addressing different things is super important. Then if you move into the second stage of your funnel for your social media, that's your nurturing content. So this is where you want to talk about who you are, what you offer, why you do it, how you do it, and just tell people about it. Just educate them on that and offer them so much fucking value.
Yeah.
Like offer them so much value.
Yeah.
Make them feel like they owe you something.
Yeah.
So there's a law of human psychology where basically it's like if I give you something for free, you inherently feel like you have to give me something back later.
Yeah.
And it's just like in the back of our brains as humans, it's like a studied thing in sales psychology. But if I give you something for free, you feel like you have to give me something later, which is really important. Yeah. So we do that in this middle of funnel, right? We give them so much stuff and we don't ask for a thing. Yeah. So it's all this educational stuff or information or whatever it is. We're giving them stuff and not asking anything. And then we have our bottom of funnel. And again, this is still happening on socials. So then this is our conversions piece. Yeah. This is testimonials. This is case studies. This is really call to action driven, sales. This is hot, limited edition things or limited time offers or upsells or cross sells, all that stuff. That's your bottom of funnel. And then of course we importantly have our fourth stage, our loyalty stage. And so content for that is stuff like sharing brands, like customer stories is a really nice way to build brand loyalty because people feel like they're part of it. Yeah. But also regardless of whether you're a product or service, you should be launching new things at least quarterly. And so getting your audience's engagement on what that might look like, feel like, sound like, experience, getting them to feel like they're playing a role in the development of something new is the best way to build brand loyalty because they feel so deeply connected to you and they've already loved you and what you do, then you're already upselling them into that thing later when you launch it. So that brings you back into the funnel, right? Yeah. So that's your socials.
I love that. And I'm like, these are all things that, when you're doing like your social strategy, your content mix, that you should, as a brand be thinking in the back of your mind, right? Like thinking, this is who my audience is and who I'm talking to and who the content is for, but is this content for someone who doesn't know anything about me? They're in that awareness stage, and which there's like, your reels and stuff like that, because that is going to be pushed out to people who don't follow you more likely. And so you want it to be like either like giving a bit of insight into who you are or being exciting and fun. So they're like, oh, I want to be part of that fun party. And then, your carousel posts and things like that can be more like get to know you kind of things and like get to that next level. So I feel like it's really important for brands to think about this in their content mix as well, because as much as you can be really annoyed that it's like, oh, like what should I be posting? Like reels are getting way more reach. Everyone says to do this or that. It's like there's a purpose to each different piece of content that you're putting out and who it's going to and like what stage that person is at. You want to be considering all these things with your audience as well. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot to it that can be really missed if you're not like really squared in on like how to make it strategic.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Love that.
And even like when you're mapping out your content, what we do for all our clients is each post we consider the stage of the funnel, the audience, the pain point that it's talking to, the transformation that it's talking to, and the kind of emotional messaging that ties into those two things for that audience. Those are 5 key points that I consider before I then even think about, am I making a reel, a carousel, a static, a graphic, anything? Yeah. And then what that piece of content even is. Before you do that, map out those 5 things. Yeah. And then when you're looking at your month's worth of content, make sure you've got a really beautiful, diverse mix of top of funnel, middle, bottom loyalty, as well as all your different target audiences and all of their different pain points, transformations, and emotions. And that way, because everyone buys for a different reason and they buy at different stages. Yeah. And so you want to make sure that you're talking to all of those different opportunities throughout your content mix.
Yeah. Yeah, and because there's so many touch points, which is another thing that I feel like is so important. It's like a brand's got to interact with you, like 7 to 12 times before a customer's got to interact with you 7 to 12 times before they think about buying. So they have to see you in all these different places. So you've got to be in all those different places.
Yeah. And even more than that, depending on your product. Like if you're under $100, it can be up to $20.
Yeah.
If you're under $1,000, it can be up to $50. If you're over $1,000, you're looking at like 150 touch points.
Yeah. And touch points aren't so like cut and dry. Like it can be really, you know, so subtle that you don't even realize that it's there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's so much to it. And I feel like something that brands, founders can do is like, you might see some of your favorite content from other brands, TikToks they're posting and stuff, and really think like, oh, but they're not doing any of that strategy stuff. They're just, you know, having fun and posting this. But it's like, really sit down and like, if you pick apart and dissect this content they're putting out, even if it's just their team having fun in the warehouse, there is so much strategy behind it, because it's like these founders of big brands did not get to where they are by just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. Like they know what they're doing, and they know people, and they know sales, and so they know how to connect with people. So it's like there really is all that at the base of it. So even if you think people are just out here having fun, yes, they are having fun, but they are also like, there's so much strategy behind it. And if you can sort of dissect that, replicate it, put a little bit of your own magic onto it, you're set up for success. So good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yes. Amazing. So then I would love to know a little bit how then we can tie all these things on social. Then once you've got it set up, you're optimized, you're good. And this is, I'm thinking just organic side, then tying it into your email marketing. And then I would assume like paid ads from there, but let's start with email marketing.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, first stage is your socials, and then how someone gets onto your email list is simple. They either sign up on your website just because they want to, very unlikely. More likely they'll come from a lead magnet, or maybe you'll offer them a discount or something on your website in space, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Someone's going to join your mailing list. You need to nurture the fuck out of that person. You need to offer that. I hope I can swear here.
Yeah, you're fine.
I was like, oh shit. I'm a swearer. I'm passionate. You need to nurture them, because they have just, when someone first signs up to your mailing list for whatever reason, you are the most attractive to them in that moment that you will ever be. Like that is the hottest you could ever possibly be to that person. And you have to like really take that and run with it. And so you need to create nurture sequences. And these are automated sequences that you build out in your email platform. Depending on the software that you're using will depend how easy or difficult this is. But essentially the concept of a nurture sequence is simple. You have an email that you want to send someone, you have a time delay. You have an email, time delay. Email, that's it.
Yeah.
That's how you set them up. It's very simple. And there's a specific process that I use, like a very specific framework that works wonders.
Amazing.
So I'm going to give you some real tea right now.
Yeah. Like she's spilling her secret.
This is literally like my secret sauce, but it's so hot and like you deserve it, so it's fine.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Stop. So the first thing, this is how I build out a welcome nurture sequence. Yep. Don't ship bricks when you see how long it is. So the first stage is you're going to directly sell immediately for 6 emails. And for anyone who is scared of selling, I know that sounds really scary, and it can be a bit like, oh my God, am I going to annoy them? I don't know. No, because we just discussed that you're the sexiest that you've ever been to them and that you will ever be to them.
Yep.
And because it's like, if I go to the hospital and I've cut off the bottom of my leg and I've walked in, or hopped in, and I've got, this snapped off leg, and I go to the doctor and I say, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then the doctor says, hey, I see you. Welcome. Sit down. Let me tell you my life story. Let me tell you, from a young age, I always wanted to be a doctor. And mum and dad wanted me to be a doctor. And this is what I studied at uni. No one cares. I've got a broken leg. Can you please fix it right now?
So you're like, I'm here because I have an immediate problem. Like,
Correct.
I'm already here.
Yeah.
Like, I need you now. And there's time later for you to tell me all that other stuff. But yeah.
Exactly. And so people buy for all different reasons, and people will come into your world at all different stages. But for those people who are immediately problem aware and are solution aware and are just waiting for you to give it to them, those people, why not just sell to them immediately? Yeah. So we want 6 emails directly selling. And if you're worried about pissing off everyone else, it's fine, because actually you're not going to piss them off. They're just going to be learning more about you, who you are, what you do, and what you offer, so that later when they're ready to purchase, they already know how you can help them. So that's your first stage. That's your first 6 emails. Then from there, we go into secondary selling, which is content selling, which is a lot of what we do on organic social media, right? So we might tell case studies or tell stories of our own experiences, or we might talk about some educational stuff like a training for a product service. This all applies. It's the same process. So we're going to have about another 6 emails selling indirectly with content. Then from there, we go to objections. So if someone has gotten to this point and they haven't purchased yet, it doesn't mean that they don't want to purchase. They're still here. They haven't clicked unsubscribe. It just means that something's holding them back. And my favorite thing to do here is to literally send them an email asking them what's wrong. And you send like a plain text email that says, why haven't you bought from me yet? I see that you're still here. I see you on my website. Maybe you've even added to cart, but you haven't purchased. Can I ask you why? And then link that person, and this is the key to automate it, because you could have a back and forth conversation, but if we're doing this at scale, absolutely not. And even if we're not, I'm lazy. Let's make it simple as possible. We've got other things to do. So you send them a form in that email, send them a link to like a form or in your email platform, whatever, and say, why haven't you bought from me yet? And give them a multi-choice and get them to select one of the options. Whatever your most common objections are, write those all out and get them to choose one. And then from there, build out a new email flow responding to each of those. And so for each potential objection that you have, create a sequence of about 6 emails again, handling that objection. And essentially what you want to do is turn that objection into the reason that they want to buy. They don't have time. Okay, well, you don't have time to waste. Like for me, for example, if someone says, oh, they don't have time to join my mastermind, which is like a 6-month marketing course. If someone doesn't have time to do that now, they're not going to have time to do anything else, because if you can't do your marketing now, babe, your whole business is going to fall apart. You're going to go tits up. You're going to work with some dodgy agency, and then you're going to hate it. And then you're going to come back in a year's time, having wasted all that time, and say, hey, Bree, I'm ready now.
Exactly.
Girlfriend, no, do it now.
So it's like your business is falling apart. It's like, well, now you got nothing but time.
Exactly.
Because your business is gone. Yeah. So it's like you need to invest in it. Yeah.
Exactly. So we want to take that objection and handle it, and then slowly turn that objection into the reason that they're purchasing. And so each of those objections has its own flow. And then from there, we round off with reducing the risk as much as possible. So at the end of that flow, those 6 emails, send a couple last ones, reducing the risk. So whether that means that you're offering a free trial, or you're offering a sample pack, or you're offering free returns, or you're, say, if you have like a service, let's have a 20-minute consult for free, or, you know, you can welcome and come to one of my courses for free and try this out, or, you know, here's the limited time discount, that kind of stuff, to really take the risk away. And from this point, you've pretty much touched on every possible aspect of buyer psychology, and all that's left for them to do is say yes. And so if they get to this point and they haven't purchased, there's a few other things you can do, but I'll cap it there.
Yeah. And also if it's like, if they're getting to that stage and they're still not ready to buy, it probably means that at a foundational level, there's something else in your messaging itself, not the actual, like, you know, the way that you're delivering, that we need to get into. But that's a whole nother thing. But I love that so much. That is so juicy and valuable, because I feel like people hear all the time, like, I need to be doing email marketing. It's really important. It's like, people, you know, my socials can be taken away. I need to be speaking to my audience on here. But there's so much more to it than just like being like, oh, I'm going to send out an email today and it's a monthly newsletter and that's it. Like, it's like, you can be so strategic about it. And I love that so much, because people who are joining your email list right then and there, they are like, you know, if they're on a website shopping for a specific thing, it's because they want to buy that thing. So that's why they're signing up to your email list, because they want more. So that absolutely is the way to sell. And then I love the way that it would be like handling objections and everything like that. And then, you know, tying in those storytelling elements and things as well. So if it's like they just need that know, like, trust element, so much to it. So I love that. And then, if we touch a little bit on paid social related things, I know that you have really good tips and insights on this and just making it seem a little less scary, because I'm someone who's like, I shy away from doing ads just because I look at Meta ads, the business suite, and I'm like, I'm scared, and I'm putting my credit card details in, and I'm like, what if I accidentally clicked something and it's just taking all my money, and I'm throwing money down the drain and no one's even seeing it, no one's even buying? What's the point? I feel like a lot of founders sit in that same boat, and then they just don't know, or they start off in business and they're like, let me have a go at it, no, it's too hard, and then they end up outsourcing to an agency who is just sucking away their money, and they're not really getting a lot of good results, or it's just not really worth it. Like, it's not a good investment then. It's like you might get some results, but it's like, it's just a bit like you don't know what to do. So I feel like you're really good at demystifying this. And I'd love to know a bit of your insight on like where you think someone should start.
I love that, because when I first started in the marketing world, I started because I got ripped off by an agency at the nonprofit that I was working at.
Yep.
And I thought, this is fucking bullshit, bro. Like, I hate it here. So let's not do that.
And you're like, I'm a not-for-profit and you're ripping me off.
Literally, I was like, I don't have any money and you've taken all of it. Like, so something that I'm very passionate about. And ads aren't scary. I love paid ads. Ads are the best thing that's ever happened to me. And there's so much space there for growth in a business, but they're not a holy grail solution. And I would never, ever, ever recommend running paid ads before making sales organically. So especially if you're in that startup space, or if you're launching a new product or service, sell it organically first, because that means that you're testing your messaging, testing everything around it, your audience, your product or service itself, getting that product market fit first, making sure that's, and then you can move on to actually running paid ads. And paid ads will accelerate your growth. So when we start running a paid ads campaign on social, there's something I like to do regardless of whether it's a completely new account you've never run ads before, or if you've run ads for a million years but we're trying something new, it's the same process. So when you're in Meta Business Suite or in Ads Manager, when you go to set up a campaign, it will literally ask you what sort of campaign you want to set. And Meta takes that really literally. And so if you select a traffic campaign, it's only going to show your ad to people that it thinks are likely to click on it, but that's it. And that's a cheaper campaign than a conversions campaign, where it's then going to take it a step further if I select conversions, and it's going to try and find people that it thinks are going to purchase or whatever that conversion action is. So a conversion campaign will cost you more than a traffic campaign. And when you're starting out and trying something new, while I would never recommend using a traffic conversion if you're looking for conversions, I would recommend using a traffic campaign to test your audience and messaging. And so what I do is I will go through, and for each of my, say it's a pizza company. Oh no, that's not a good example. Say we're a shoe brand, right? And you have men's shoes, you have women's shoes, you have kids' shoes. But you have 3 audiences. But within that, you've got women's running shoes, formal shoes, and work shoes. I'm going to split my women audience up into each of those 3. And then I'm also going to, and that's 3 different ad sets. And then for each of my ad sets, I'm going to split that into women who are buying new running shoes because they've got sore feet. And then we're going to do women who want pretty running shoes. And then we're going to do women who want, I don't know, whatever. So whatever your different pain points are and whatever your different buyer motivators are. And then we're creating 2 ads for each of those. And so when you're first starting out, you're going to end up with a shit ton of ads. And so it's good to start focus on one area of your business or one product or one target audience first, because what we want to do is test what works. And so we're going to create heaps of ads and heaps of different copy, and we're going to chuck that all into a traffic campaign and run it at a really low spend, or you can do a high spend. But what we want to do is get to 4,000 impressions. And so the higher spend means it'll take you a day. A lower spend, maybe it'll take you 4 days. But it's like $10 to get 4,000. Not even, like $5. Depending on your audience. But you're not spending more than $10 to get to your 4,000 impressions. And once you've got 4,000 impressions on all of those ads, you want to look through and see what the click-through rate is. So your click-through rate is the percentage of people that have seen your ad and then have clicked on it and taken a further action. And so we want to get to 4,000 impressions, and we want to find the ads that have a click-through rate of about 6%. So that's really high. But in a traffic campaign, that's what we want. And so we find those winning ads, whatever they are, in our traffic campaign, and we go, you're coming with me. Pull those babies, including the targeting. If the targeting, and if you're not getting that, so say you've set up 30 ads and they're all sitting at 4%, they're all shit.
Yeah.
But it's probably not your ads are shit.
Yeah.
It's probably that your targeting is bad. So now you're going to do an A/B test and change the targeting parameters entirely and try again. Hit that 4,000, again, it's $5, and see what's working. And if you're suddenly getting that 6%, whatever, you know that that's the bit that's working. So you're going to do a little bit of testing here. This is the data-y bit, and it's super important because that's going to save you money in the long run, right? Once you've already found your winning creatives at a lower cost, then we're going to take them over into a conversions campaign. And so your conversions campaign will cost you more, but it's also what's going to make you money. So then you're going to set up your conversions campaign, and I still run top, middle, and bottom of funnel ads all in a conversions campaign. So even though if my top of funnel ad, I want someone to download a lead magnet or I want them to visit my website or read my blog, I'm still running it with a conversions action because I want to find the people that long-term are going to purchase from me. So you set that all up in a conversions campaign, including your retargeting for your middle of funnel and, you know, all the rest of it. That's all happening in that conversions campaign using your winning targeting creatives and copy from your traffic campaign. And so then that's where you can actually spend your budget. And so even then I'd start with $10 a day and then find what's working, generate some money, then increase by no more than 20% at a time because that will fuck up your ads.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. And I also love the way that because this is what I saw a post of yours about, doing this, like testing with a traffic campaign and then doing conversions. And I was like, that is such good advice because I'm too honest when I'm going into Meta's business suite. I'm like, what am I trying to do? But I'm like, just, you know, do traffic, test your messaging and stuff, because then once that's all nailed down, then you can move into the conversions. I'm like, that is so good and such an easy way to set it up, test things out. And it's like, why test it and spend more money testing it? You could test it out, spending less money. And like, if people aren't even like looking at it, they're not going to click on it. So that's such a like good way to like put it and to get it at the beginning. So I love that so much. You really make it feel so much less scary because I'm like, oh my gosh, I could set up ads.
But you literally can. Like, that's it. And so then when you're looking at your ads strategy from there, you want to create ads for, your top of funnel, your middle of funnel, and your bottom of funnel. Yeah. And if budget allows, I would also be running brand loyalty ads as well. So running ads for each of your 4 stages of your buyer journey, for each of your target audiences, talking to specific pain points or experiences. Yeah. So the more nitty gritty you can get, the better.
Yeah, and then like really take a look at the data. Yeah. And like, as a girly who just does all her marketing off the vibes, it is a big lesson to learn to look at the data, but it's so important because it's telling you right there like what people want. And that's what you should be looking at. Yeah. So I love that so much. You have such good insight on all of that and how to tie it all into like your customer journey. My last kind of thing is basically just what your best practice tips and advice are. You've probably given a little bit of this here and there, but just to sort of wrap us up, what you would sort of suggest when a brand comes to you, I guess.
Okay, so there's a few key things that are like quick, easy wins for people to look at, and most businesses aren't doing well. So the first thing is that in all of your marketing, you need to be thinking about your audience's pain points, their dream outcomes, and their emotions are tied to both of those things before you do anything else. And so, yes, you can map out your audience demographics, but your psychographics are what is going to absolutely transform your business. And so that should be underpinning every single action that you take across your entire marketing matrix. And so if you haven't mapped out your audience's psychographics, go back and do that before you do anything else. Then, as I'm sure you would explain, your messaging needs to come next, and then your buyer journey, and then everything from there. So that's like what should underpin absolutely everything that you're doing. And I have an academic background in sociology, and so I like to think of it big picture as well. Like, yes, the intrinsic factors for someone, what's going to motivate them, but also like bigger picture, what's happening in the world around them and what's influencing them, and how does that all play into it too? Because we don't live in a silo, we don't live in a vacuum, and we live in the broader context of our existence. And so how does that all influence someone as well? That's my first thing. And that's like a fundamental thing that so many times I'm like, okay, well, you've put out this post, but like, who's it talking to, babe? Like, what? Let's get specific. Like, let's get so niche. Like, talk directly to someone.
Yeah.
Be so clear on who they are and talk to them and answer that question, answer that pain point, explain that motivation.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. Then from there, something that is really overlooked, and it's like, this is a cross tangent potentially, but the lowest hanging fruit is going back to your brand loyalty, right? Because once someone has purchased from you, like we spoke about, it's 68% less expensive to get them to buy from you again. So why not save, 30% of your, like spend 30% of what you're willing to spend to get that person to come back. They're also willing to spend more. They'll spend more on you the second, third, fourth time than they did the first, as long as they have a good experience. Obviously, this is provided that you're doing good things in the world. And of course, they also are more likely to become your brand advocates, which long term makes your marketing cheaper as well, because they're going to get new people for you for free, increasing your marketing efficiency ratio long term. So what can you do to get people who've already purchased from you to come back again and again and again? And so that's looking at things like post-purchase nurture sequences, that's cross-sells and upsells, that's limited time discounts for people who are already in your world, that's creating loyalty programs with points or affiliate programs, all these different kinds of things and levers that you can pull to make people feel really fucking valued and also show them what's going on in your world and how they can stay part of it. And so your lowest hanging fruit and the easiest thing you can do to increase your revenue and increase your impact in your business is to really nurture and connect with those people who are already in your world and focus on how you can make them customers again and again and again.
Yeah, and I feel like that all goes into building like a cult-like community.
Yeah.
Because it's like you don't just want like a brand. Like you want people to be obsessed with your brand and like, Taylor Swift level obsessed buying tickets, like where they're excited for your drops and they want to be as close to you as possible and like everything that's happening. So that's so good. Oh my gosh, we've dived into so much, but I just know that we could literally talk about this all day and keep going.
Yeah.
But I will wrap us up there. If people want to connect with you on socials, which of course they do, they can find your Instagram at Hello Fletcher & Co. That's all for this episode.
Amazing. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. It was so great to have you on. You're amazing. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. The other 4 episodes of this 5-episode mini-series on breaking up with your boring brand are out now, ready for you to binge. If you love this ep, please share it with a friend. You can gently tell them it's the wake-up call their marketing is feeling a bit boresome, or pretend it's totally unrelated. If you can't get enough of me, connect with me on socials at Good-Hearted Studio. I love to chat and yap and help raise the voices of good-hearted brands with a mission to make the world a better place. Okay, love you, bye.